Hey guys, you're watching Let's Talk About Prepping. I'm Tyler, your host, sitting here in my strawberry beds. And in this video, I wanted to share a tip that I've found is really helpful for keeping slugs away from your strawberries and various other plants. All right, so if you've been growing things that slugs like, and if you're like me and you have a lot of slugs in your garden, then you'll know that they're one of the worst enemies that you could have when growing food that you want to eat. Because you'll come out here and they'll have eaten about half of the strawberries that went ripe overnight. And that's never a good feeling. They're getting into my watermelons, and, well, there's quite a few things that the slugs like to eat. I don't like adding anything that's not totally organic and natural to my garden. If it's really natural, then I'll make an exception. But I prefer to add things myself that I know are totally organic and that I'm perfectly fine making it into my food. And when it comes to keeping slugs away from my food, I've found that there's nothing more natural or more effective than eggshells. Now, eggshells keep slugs away from things by being really sharp. Ground up eggshell is like ground up glass for slugs. And since slugs are nothing but soft parts, trying to crawl over a broken eggshell cuts them right up. It actually kills them if they try hard enough. So I've found that ever since I started spreading pulverized eggshell throughout my garden beds, the slugs don't eat nearly as much of my harvest. And so what I'm sharing with you today is my process for grinding up eggshell and keeping the slugs out of my garden. Now, the real bonus to this is that eggshell adds calcium to your soil, and that's something that you need to fortify your soil with anyways. So by doing this, not only are we keeping the slugs out of the soil, when this eggshell makes its way down into the soil and breaks down over time, it's actually fortifying the soil and making it better for the plants themselves. So the process is pretty simple. I have myself a stainless steel mortar and pestle. I highly suggest that you have a couple of these. I like to have one for out here in my garden. It can get dirty and stay dirty, and I don't have to worry about wanting to use it for my interior things, crushing up herbs, crushing up pills, anything that you might need to use a mortar and pestle for. These are incredibly handy, and I'm going to put a link in the description down below to one that you can purchase on Amazon. That is a associates link for my buddy Anthony over at Palmetto Prepared. So that's just a disclaimer I have to share with you guys, but go check it out, and any other shopping you do in there, it'll help him out without any extra cost to you. So this is just a stainless steel mortar and pestle. I'm sure that plenty of you will know what this is, but basically it's a steel bowl and a pestle for crushing things up inside. So I get my eggshells in there, and it's just a very basic circular motion. And you can see that within about 30 seconds to a minute, I've already got most of my eggshells pulverized and down to almost the grit size that I want them to be at before I add them. Now, these have a little bit of yolk in them, a little bit of moisture, and that's what's keeping it all bundled up like that. If it's nice and dry and clean, for instance, what I'll do often is actually rinse the yolk off of my eggshells inside, then throw them out here to dry, and then pulverize it. But well, that's probably not going to focus for us. But as you can probably tell, it's pulverized quite small. And if it was dry, I'd be able to get it basically into dust. But you pulverize it until it's at least, well, smaller than pea sized. That way it'll spread well and be all over the place, so that the slugs are going to have a hard time getting past it and into your strawberries or food to eat them. So, like I said, I've found that this is extremely effective. I've noticed that I can go from losing maybe 50% of my harvest of strawberries on any given day to less than 10% or zero loss to slugs. So I hope that's been interesting. Definitely go check out that link down below and get yourself a mortar and pestle. because this is one of the most efficient ways to keep slugs out of your garden, and these are extremely handy to have around. So I hope that's been interesting. I hope you're all doing well out there, and everybody stay safe.